Tonight, authorities announcing legendary actor Gene Hackman died of heart disease, complicated by advanced Alzheimer's. The 95-year-old alone for several days after his wife Betsy Arakawa died first in their Santa Fe home.
I can tell you that he was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it's quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased.
Gene Hackman was one of Hollywood's greatest actors, popularly known for his powerful and unforgettable roles in movie classics. But after stepping away from the spotlight, he seemed to have disappeared. That was until shocking news about his death left fans in disbelief.
Tonight, New Mexico authorities with tragic revelations to a week-long mystery, saying Gene Hackman died of heart disease and complications from Alzheimer's,
sparking questions about the mystery surrounding his sudden death. What really happened to this iconic star? Was there more to his final chapter than anyone realized? In this video, we will reveal the hidden truth behind Gene Hackman's shocking death and the untold story of his last days. Stay with us as we share with you the facts no one knows. Gene Hackman's death reports. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office and the National Broadcasting Company, in affiliation with KOB-TV, have both confirmed the report of the passing of the Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman.
Actor Gene Hackman was found dead at his home in Santa Fe. Yeah, I love Gene Hackman.
He was an amazing actor.
Whose dead body was found along with his wife and dog on Wednesday afternoon, February 26, 2025, at their home in Santa Fe, located at the U.S. state of New Mexico, after a neighbor had called the police at about 1:45 p.m. to conduct a welfare check on Hackman. Hackman, aged 95, was reported to have been discovered in a side room near the kitchen of the house in Santa Fe, while his wife Betsy Arakawa, a 65-year-old classical pianist, was found in a bathroom. Authorities reported no signs of injury, but deemed the death suspicious enough to investigate and have not ruled out foul play. What could have led to the sudden demise of this icon, his wife, and his dog? Now, before we dive deep into the circumstances surrounding his death, let's take a look at his last days in the Hollywood industry and his health issues. What we're about to reveal will definitely blow your mind. Reports have it that Gene Hackman retired from acting in 2004 after starring in a movie titled Welcome to Mooseport. He reportedly won 2 Academy Awards, which included one for The French Connection in 1973 and another for Unforgiven in 1992.
The nominees for Best Supporting Actor are Gene Hackman in Unforgiven.
Hackman was known for iconic roles, which included Lex Luthor in the Superman franchise. His final film appearances were voiceovers in the documentaries The Unknown Flag Raiser of Iwo Jima in 2016 and We, the Marines in 2017. Multiple sources confirmed that he had a history of heart disease and had been fitted with a pacemaker before his demise. Data from the device suggests that his heart may have stopped on February 17, 2025, 9 days before their bodies were discovered. This was reported to have suggested a possible natural cause related to health complications. In a prolific year in which he appeared in the 1990 movies Loose Cannons, Postcards from the Edge, and Narrow Margin, Hackman reportedly had a procedure to avoid a heart attack. According to a 1990 report by the news agency United Press International, Hackman, who was 60 at the time, underwent an angioplasty in which a balloon catheter was believed to have been inserted to unblock an artery to his heart. Dr. Herbert Semler also confirmed the report with the United Press International and how fortunate they were to easily reach the area with a balloon catheter and dilate it. He added that Hackman had been experiencing chest pains that eventually went down one of his arms while on vacation in Oregon. Hackman later confirmed that he underwent angioplasty in a 2004 interview with talk show host Larry King, where he was asked if he was scared about undergoing the procedure. He said he was not having a lot of fears, but had the normal fear of passing away.
I have the normal fear of passing away. I guess we all think about that, especially you get to be a certain age.
He emphasized the fact that he wanted to make sure that his wife and family were well taken care of. In his interview with King later that year, Hackman reportedly confirmed that he had no future projects lined up and that it was probably all over. Investigators are also confirmed to be considering whether any external factors contributed to the death of the legendary actor, the wife, and the dog, as authorities were reported to have initially misidentified one of the couple's dogs, which was also found deceased at the scene. In addition to his heart issues, Hackman was reported to have suffered injuries when he was hit by a car while riding his bike in Islamorada, Florida. In 2012, the Florida Highway Patrol confirmed the report on the news. Hackman, who was 81 at the time, was believed to have been seen not wearing a helmet when a pickup truck struck the rear tire of his bike. The Highway Patrol reported that he was airlifted to Ryder Trauma Center in Miami. Hackman's spokeswoman told Reuters he was bumped by the truck, and the only reason he was airlifted was because he was on an island. Now, the question everyone is asking is, what exactly is the cause of his death, and what are investigations saying about Gene Hackman's death? Brace up for far more exciting revelations about his reported death. Investigating Gene Hackman's death. At 95 years old, Hackman's passing has reportedly led to an ongoing investigation into the cause of his death. Reports have it that a minor gas leak from a stove with a reading of 0.03% gas in the air was found, along with 4 others with code violations related to a water heater and gas log lighters in 3 fireplaces, but none were believed to be fatal. The New Mexico Gas Company authorities have now reportedly ruled out gas poisoning, stating that no significant gas leaks or carbon monoxide were detected in the home, but toxicology reports are believed to be pending and could take weeks to be finalized. Investigators also discovered pills near Betsy's body, which has further raised questions about the couple's death. Multiple accounts from family and those close to the late actor and his wife indicated the couple withdrew from everyone in their final days and weeks. As the investigation into the mysterious death of Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, enters its second phase, following last week's revelations from an autopsy performed after the couple's bodies were found in their Santa Fe home, more details are reported to be emerging around their health and shifting habits in the final month of their lives from family and close friends of the couple. Reports from the Santa Fe's sheriff concluded last Friday that the 2-time Academy Award winner, whose Hollywood career spanned 4 decades, and classical pianist Arakawa did not die from carbon monoxide poisoning. This was believed to have ended speculation that a gas leak killed the couple, who were found on Wednesday in separate rooms of their home during a wellness check. Police reports have it that both of them showed no signs of external trauma, but Hackman's pacemaker had sent its last record on February 17th. He suggested the actor had been dead for at least 1 week before his body was discovered slumped over in a mudroom off the kitchen.
This investigation started on February 26th with the discovery of Mr. Hackman and Miss Arakawa and their dog at their residence. I just want to do a short recap and then touch on some new information.
Over the weekend, Santa Fe County Sheriff Adan Mendoza repeated that he does not believe there was foul play in the deaths of the couple, who had spent more than 30 years together in the house on Old Sunset Trail Road. More updates on the investigation are expected to be finalized by the authorities in the coming weeks. Now, Hackman's death has reportedly generated lots of reaction from family and friends who spoke about what they knew about the actor and his death. Stick around, as what you're about to hear might just change everything you thought you knew. Family and public reactions to Gene Hackman's death. In the wake of Hackman's passing, family and friends have poured in with their reactions as to how they see his passing and legacy. Over the weekend, friends and family of Hackman and Arakawa reportedly spoke with members of the press from a handful of publications about his declining health at age 95 and some changes in their communication with family. Daniel and Barbara Lenahan, a married couple who were friends with Hackman and Arakawa for years, and their son, Aaron, spoke with people about their impression of the couple ahead of their unexpected deaths. They explained that over the last couple of months, Hackman was really slipping there. Daniel Lenahan shared with the news outlet that Hackman was essentially kind of homebound in recent times. Barbara Lenahan added while she spoke to people that around a year ago, the retired actor quit riding his bike through the neighborhood. Aaron explained how Arakawa, who at 64 was more than 30 years Hackman's junior, took extra good care of him in his twilight years. He said Betsy tried to keep him kind of active and engaged, and that Hackman kept his mind active by working on puzzles and doing yoga via Zoom. He added that Betsy was very protective of him in terms of COVID-19, so she would always wear a mask when they saw her out. His claim was backed up by Hackman's good friend, Doug Lanham, who told TMZ that the actor's wife was sure he maintained a strict, healthy diet that saw him order either the halibut or rice paper salmon rather than a big steak at the bistro he owned for years. He concluded that they were one of the tightest couples he had ever seen and that they seemed like real-life partners who were really, really close to each other, with both incredibly kind. He added that they were reserved, but real and fun to be with. It was believed that while Hackman's health appeared to be declining, Arakawa seemed to be the picture of health ahead of her death, which Barbara Lenehan claimed to be true. All of the Lenehans' claims about their famous friend's health decline, however, were reported to have stood in sharp contrast to what one of Hackman's daughters told the press after his body was discovered last week. Leslie Ann Hackman told the Daily Mail last week that there was no indication that there was any problem with her dad's health before his death. She told the outlet that despite his age, he was in very good physical condition. Leslie Ann, one of the actor's 3 children from a previous marriage to Faye Maltese, and her siblings were believed to have been convinced that a gas leak had caused the death of her dad. That was ruled out by authorities last week. While speaking with the Daily Mail, Leslie Ann admitted that she had not spoken with her father in the months before his death. According to information passed by Keiko, a housekeeper, who had been taking care of Arakawa's 91-year-old mother, who was suffering from dementia. She said the situation was strikingly similar to the situation with Arakawa and her mother, Yoshi Feaster. She reported that regular calls placed to her in Hawaii stopped in October, which happened to be a similar time frame to the couple of months in which Leslie Ann Hackman had not spoken with her father. She added that Arakawa usually calls every 1 or 2 months, but stopped calling in October last year. She said that made them start thinking about what actually happened. Sheriff Mendoza on Friday repeated that investigators are still putting together a timeline of the past few months. A personal calendar was also reported to have been found in the house, which was listed as one of the items removed from the property when a search warrant was executed last week. Gene Hackman's nephew, Tim Hackman, also stated that the full toxicology reports on Hackman and Arakawa are expected in a few months before they can make any conclusions. As the death of one of the best Hollywood actors of all time remains shrouded in mystery, one of his beloved communities has just paid tribute to him and his wife. Hold on, because the best part is coming up. Santa Fe's tribute to Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. It was reported that Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa received a touching tribute from the Santa Fe Film Commission following the pair's recent deaths. At the end of a Friday press conference, Santa Fe Film Commissioner Jennifer Labar Tapia opened with a tribute on what the late actor and wife meant not only to the film industry, but to the city they called home. She regretted the loss of the couple and declared that Santa Fe and the film industry mourned the loss of the 2 extraordinary individuals, Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. She revealed that Gene was not only a legendary actor whose talent shaped generations of storytelling, but that he and Betsy were also longtime residents of their community, which was deeply woven into the fabric of Santa Fe. Labar Tapia added that Gene's legacy in the film is unparalleled, spanning decades of unforgettable performances, which included some that are filmed right there in Santa Fe. She said the actor's work inspired countless artists, actors, and filmmakers, and that his impact will continue to be felt for generations to come. She revealed that beyond Hollywood, Gene and Betsy were their neighbors, who embraced the Santa Fe lifestyle and embraced Santa Fe as their home. She noted that their kindness, generosity, and love for the city made them more than just icons, but part of their family. She stressed that the community's thoughts are with their loved ones and all who knew them and admired them. She added that the primary reason for Friday's press conference was for Santa Fe County Sheriff Adan Mendoza to update the public on what they had learned since Hackman and Arakawa's bodies were found on Wednesday, February. A local sheriff, during a press briefing, emphasized the need for a careful and detailed investigation to ascertain the true circumstances of the couple's deaths. Community members and fans alike are reportedly awaiting further developments as investigators conduct toxicology tests on both deceased individuals. As the inquiry into Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's deaths unfolds, the public is still hopeful for clarity on this untimely tragedy. With the local authorities actively pursuing all leads, the case is believed to stand as a reminder of the unexpected nature of life and death, particularly within the realm of those we admire. The legacy of both Hackman and Arakawa and the mystery surrounding their demise will undoubtedly resonate with fans and the film industry for years to come. From losing her adoptive father soon after birth to carrying heavy burdens for her family, Sarah's path was never easy. She wrestled with her sexuality, endured romantic turmoil, and learned that self-care was essential to survive Hollywood's harsh glare. Dive into this raw account of tragedy and triumph that shaped Sarah Gilbert's true self, a childhood marked by loss and change. Sarah Gilbert was born on January 29, 1975, and from the very start, life dealt her a tough hand. Her adoptive father, Paul Gilbert, died of a brain hemorrhage shortly after her birth, leaving Sarah's mother, Barbara Cowan, to raise her baby alone. Seeking stability, Barbara remarried but ended up divorcing again, so Sarah spent her earliest years watching her family fall apart in different ways. Even before she fully understood the meaning of loss, she saw how delicate family life could be. On top of all this, Sarah had half-siblings who were already in show business. Melissa and Jonathan Gilbert starred in Little House on the Prairie, and seeing them act fueled Sarah's own dream of performing. Yet it wasn't just ambition that drove her forward. It was also a need for a safe place in a world full of sudden changes. Acting seemed like a chance to shape her own story, even when everything at home felt so unsteady. In 1984, Sarah made a major decision to take the last name Gilbert after her mother's marriage to Paul came to an end. Though she lost him early in life, that name tied her to the memory of a father figure who had inspired her creative hopes. Her grandfather, Harry Crane, a co-creator of The Honeymooners, also deepened her family's ties to Hollywood. Surrounded by people in the entertainment industry, Sarah believed she was meant to perform, no matter the sadness and chaos in her personal world. As a child, Sarah also saw her loved ones struggle with money, especially when her father, Harold Abels, hit hard times. She took on grown-up responsibilities, supporting him for a while as she tried to keep her own career afloat. The stress of balancing a budding acting path with family needs weighed heavily on her, but she refused to give up. She was determined to find her place in front of the camera. Despite all the sorrow that marked her early years, Sarah learned powerful lessons about strength and self-reliance. She discovered she couldn't change the past, but she could shape her own future. Each setback pushed her to try harder. Acting became more than a hobby. It was her way of coping and surviving. She relied on the support of her siblings, and each audition became a chance to prove she could rise above her sorrows. Overcoming the pain of her early years did not happen overnight, but every small victory showed her that new beginnings were always possible. Through those losses and constant changes, the foundations of Sarah Gilbert's strength were built, showing that heartbreak doesn't have to break you. It can light the path to a brighter tomorrow. The pressure of fame at a young age. Sarah Gilbert soared into the public eye at just 13 years old when she was cast as Darlene Connor on the hit sitcom Roseanne. Suddenly, the quiet girl from Santa Monica found herself juggling schoolwork with long days on set, earning nods from critics and fans alike for her sharp wit and natural charm. However, stepping into the spotlight so young also brought heavy expectations. Producers recognized her talent and shaped storylines around her, forcing Sarah to grow up much faster than her peers. All eyes were on every move she made, and she had to learn quickly how to handle fame without losing her sense of self. While most teenagers worried about tests and homework, Sarah faced constant media buzz and family stresses behind the scenes. Her adoptive father, Paul Gilbert, died shortly after she was born, and her mother married and divorced again, adding emotional strain to her early life. Even with these private challenges, Sarah had to show up to work as a professional each day. The industry treated her like an adult in many ways, yet she was still a child trying to figure out who she wanted to be. Balancing fame with real-life heartache was a delicate act she couldn't escape. As the breakout star of Roseanne, Sarah's role was so pivotal that producers rearranged filming schedules when she enrolled at Yale University. Determined to nurture her independence and continue her education, young Sarah flew back and forth, shooting her scenes in New York while taking classes. Though it was an incredible opportunity, it also added pressure to an already busy life. She was grateful for the chance to pursue higher learning, yet she never had the luxury of stepping away from the public's gaze. Each success only fueled the demand for more appearances and more personal details. Off-camera, Sarah also struggled with questions about her sexuality and her relationship with her father, Harold Abeles, who faced financial troubles. She felt responsible for helping him, even as she fought to uphold the image of a confident young star. In truth, she was just trying to survive the scrutiny, feeling torn between work and family obligations. Constantly under the spotlight, Sarah found it difficult to preserve her privacy or process personal challenges on her own timeline. With every year spent in front of the camera, she risked losing the normal teenage experiences that most people take for granted. A painful relationship with her father. Sarah Gilbert knew heartbreak from an early age, but her struggles with her father, Harold Abeles, were some of the hardest moments she faced. Her adoptive father, Paul Gilbert, passed away soon after she was born, leaving big gaps in her life. Then her mother remarried Harold, and for a while, Sarah hoped this man could be the dad she had always longed for. Yet as she grew older and rose to fame on Roseanne, it became clear that Harold's personal problems would put her in a very difficult spot. Harold, once a respected lawyer, fell on hard times and looked to Sarah for financial help. Though she was barely out of her teens, Sarah found herself supporting him with the money she earned from her acting. She cared deeply about him and wanted to ease his burden, but it felt overwhelming to provide for someone who was supposed to protect her. With each contribution she made, she questioned why the role of caregiver had fallen on her so young. She was only 18 or 19 but earning more than her father, who had lost his way. Their relationship turned tense as Sarah felt uncertain about how far her support should go. Eventually, she chose to stop giving Harold money. This decision weighed heavily on her heart. She realized how much he must have struggled with asking for her help in the first place. Even though it felt right to set these boundaries, she could not ignore the sadness that came from watching her father spiral. Years passed with hurt feelings on both sides, but when Harold fell seriously ill, Sarah stepped up once again. She became his main caregiver in his later years, standing by him when he needed her most. Despite the painful history and many regrets, she did her best to mend what was broken between them. By the time Harold passed away, Sarah had given much of her strength to their complicated bond, channeling her guilt and love into caring for him right up until the end. That final act of kindness helped her find some peace in the midst of their long, messy story. Still, she carried the burden of a daughter who'd had to grow up too fast, providing for her own father while also supporting her own dreams. Sarah's relationship with Harold was marked by confusion and heartbreak, but it also showed her capacity for compassion, resilience, and the deep need we all have for acceptance, no matter how late it arrives. Coming to terms with her sexuality. Sarah Gilbert's path to accepting her sexuality was not an easy one, especially in the glare of Hollywood. While she rose to fame as the witty, sarcastic Darlene Connor on Roseanne, her personal life was swirling with doubt and worry behind closed doors. During her teenage years, she dated her co-star Johnny Galecki, hoping to feel normal and fit in with what she believed everyone expected. Yet deep down, Sarah sensed something different about herself. As her feelings grew stronger, she couldn't help fearing how they might affect her career. At the time, the entertainment industry was not entirely welcoming to gay actors, and Sarah worried that coming out could harm her future on screen. Rather than risk losing work or being labeled in a way she feared, she kept her truth hidden, pushing away the questions that surfaced whenever she felt attraction outside the norm. Johnny became a true friend in this struggle. Even though she had dated him, he supported her once she came to him in tears, admitting that she thought she might be gay. He offered to stand by her side publicly if that would help her feel safe. This kind gesture meant the world to Sarah. Knowing she had someone so understanding eased some of her fears, but it took time to build up the courage to share her truth with others. As she prepared to launch her talk show, The Talk, in 2010, Sarah felt the weight of keeping her secret grow heavier. She worried that being on a public platform every day would invite questions about her private life. Eventually, she decided she no longer wished to hide who she was. Telling viewers she was a lesbian lifted a burden she had carried for years. Yet her fear was still real. She wondered if audiences or producers would treat her differently. Surprisingly, opening up led to a sense of relief rather than the career backlash she had imagined. Critics applauded her honesty, and fans appreciated her bravery. Johnny Galecki's unwavering support remained a highlight of her journey. He even offered to join her on air the day she opened up, ready to hold her hand if she felt nervous. Heartbreak in love and relationships. Sarah Gilbert's journey with love has been marked by moments of hope, fear, and deep heartbreak. When she was a teenager, she dated her Roseanne co-star Johnny Galecki, seeking the comfort and excitement of a normal teenage romance. Yet she soon realized her feelings weren't what she expected, and finally admitted to Johnny that she thought she might be gay. Rather than push her away, Johnny became one of her fiercest supporters, even offering to join her in public if it would ease her worries. Still, Sarah wrestled with the shame and uncertainty of keeping such an important part of herself hidden. Years later, after embracing her sexuality, Sarah entered a long-term relationship with TV producer Allison Adler. They shared 2 children and built a life full of family moments. But as time passed, they drifted apart. Breaking up was painful, and Sarah found herself questioning the nature of commitment and whether true love could last. This emotional wound didn't stop her from believing love was worth trying for again, although it left her hesitant about placing her heart on the line. Her next big relationship came with musician Linda Perry, known for her work as the lead singer of 4 Non-Blondes. Their connection was electric from the start. The press soon picked up on their romance, capturing photos of them together as their bond deepened. In 2014, Sarah and Linda married, and a year later, they welcomed a son, Rhodes Emilio Gilbert Perry. For a while, it seemed like Sarah had found the stability she had always craved. However, the stress of balancing a demanding career and a growing family began to take its toll. By the end of 2019, Sarah and Linda made the decision to divorce, each of them admitting that things simply were not working anymore. This second major heartbreak left Sarah struggling to cope with her broken dreams of a lasting marriage. While they parted ways, both Sarah and Linda remained dedicated to co-parenting Rhodes, hoping to give him a sense of security even after their split. Sarah knew she needed to focus on her mental well-being, carving out time for therapy, yoga, and the kind of self-care she had neglected for years. A fight for balance and self-care. Sarah Gilbert's life behind the scenes was not always glamorous. Balancing a demanding acting career, personal relationships, and motherhood often left her feeling drained. Over the years, she realized the importance of looking after her own health, both physically and emotionally. Despite her success on shows like Roseanne, The Big Bang Theory, and The Conners, she struggled with carving out time to recharge and reconnect with what mattered most. Work took priority, and any extra time was spent caring for her children or traveling between sets. When Sarah co-created and co-hosted the daytime talk show The Talk, the hectic schedule became even tougher to handle. She felt a growing pull to slow down and be present for her family. Yet she found it hard to step away from projects she had poured her heart into. This inner battle between ambition and self-preservation pushed her to examine how she managed her life. Eventually, Sarah had to face the tough truth. She could not do it all without changing something. As she left the talk, Sarah spoke openly about needing to focus on her children and her own well-being. What do you think of Gene Hackman, his wife and dog's death, and how has his legacy inspired you? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.